What kills companies is the failure of their business model. So what is risk intelligent management? Well, when things are extreme, and I think you would agree that conditions are extreme, you have to be really smart or intelligent in terms of the way you understand and manage risk. That value and risk are inseparable from performance management, and that risk intelligent management has to be built into the core ways of doing business. And that the biggest risk, as I've already said, is the change to your business model. And the most frequent cause of an unwillingness to do that is risk aversion. So what can you do about this? And I would, one of my favorite philosophers is Mark Twain, who said, "It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble, it's what you know for sure that just ain't so." So how do you get to that, right? How do you actually challenge your own assumptions? Because as I said at the beginning, experience can be misleading. Now, Ross Ashby, back in 1956, came up with the first law of cybernetics, maybe the only law of cybernetics, and was actually designed to deal with control systems in complex increasingly complex computers. But it's also can be adapted to species. And if you think about it, right, the more finely adapted a species is to a specific environment, the more likely it is to be successful. Okay? The more finely adapted a species is to a specific environment, the more likely it is to be successful. Conversely, and the fine print reads, the more likely it is to fail if the environment changes. And so we see a lot of organizations that are very finely attuned to a specific environment, and when that environment changes, they're unable to make the change because they need to have that option. They need to have the requisite variety in place at the time that it occurs because, again, it's unpredictable. You don't know. You need to have a range of options. So let me just give you briefly the example with OS/2. How many of you remember OS/2, right? It was going to replace Windows, remember? And they'd actually they'd cut off the money for Windows, and we're going to shift all of the resources into OS/2 when they found that Windows just kept selling. It wouldn't die. And eventually what happened was they found that, well, let's not fight reality here. This is working. Let's go that way. So they had that option. So some of these things are not always deliberate, but they had the option available and they exercised it. So the greatest source of risk and opportunity lies in your assumptions about your business model. And when those life and death assumptions prove wrong, they can be fatal.